Hey there, fellow garden enthusiasts. Are you ready to unlock the secrets of a bountiful onion harvest without all the fuss? We're diving deep into the world of no-fuss onion growing, where simplicity reigns supreme. Get ready to discover how to achieve impressive yields of those flavorful bulbs, all within the confines of a single raised bed. Imagine the satisfaction of harvesting your own homegrown onions, bursting with flavor and freshness. No more trips to the grocery store for overpriced, often bland onions. But let's face it, traditional onion growing methods can sometimes feel a little overwhelming, especially for those of us with busy lives. Fear not, because we're about to embark on a journey that will revolutionize your onion growing game. Get ready to say goodbye to the days of meticulous spacing, endless weeding, and the fear of overcrowded plants. We're going to challenge the conventional wisdom and explore the magic of crowd-growing onions in a raised bed. This approach is all about simplifying the process, maximizing your yield, and proving that sometimes breaking the rules can lead to extraordinary results. Onions, those pungent and versatile culinary staples, are a joy to grow in your garden. They add depth and complexity to countless dishes, from savory stews to refreshing salads. But as much as we love onions, their growth habits can present a unique set of challenges. Traditional spacing recommendations often leave gardeners with wide gaps between plants, making it a haven for pesky weeds to take over. The quest for perfectly spaced onions can also lead to unnecessary thinning, a task that can feel like a heartbreaker for any gardener who has nurtured their seedlings from tiny seeds. And let's not forget the time commitment involved in maintaining those pristine rows, ensuring each onion has ample space to reach its full potential. But what if there was a better way? A way to grow an abundance of onions without the fuss of constant weeding and meticulous spacing? That's where the beauty of crowd growing comes in. By embracing a more relaxed approach to planting density, we can create an environment where onions thrive, outcompeting weeds and maximizing the use of our garden space. This method is all about working with nature, not against it, to achieve a bountiful harvest with minimal effort. Now let's talk about crowd growing. It might sound a little unorthodox, even a bit rebellious in the gardening world. But trust me, there's a method to this madness. The basic principle is simple. We're intentionally planting our onions closer together than traditional methods recommend. Why would we do this, you ask? Well, for starters, it creates a natural barrier against weeds. By minimizing the empty space between plants, we're essentially choking out those pesky invaders before they even have a chance to take root. This means less time spent weeding and more time enjoying the fruits, or should I say bulbs, of our labor. But the benefits don't stop there. Crowd growing also encourages the onions to grow taller and more slender, as they compete for sunlight. This can be especially beneficial in smaller gardens or raised beds, where space is at a premium. And don't worry, even though the onions are growing closer together, they'll still have plenty of room to develop healthy bulbs underground. Not all onion varieties are created equal when it comes to crowd growing. Some are naturally more assertive, thriving in close quarters, while others prefer a bit more breathing room. For our crowded raised bed, we're looking for varieties that are known for their vigorous growth and adaptability. One excellent choice is the Australian brown onion. These tough cookies are well suited to a variety of climates and have a reputation for being prolific producers, even in less than ideal conditions. They're also slow to bolt, meaning they'll stay in their vegetative state longer, giving you a longer harvest window. Another great option is the Spanish white onion. These beauties are known for their mild, sweet flavor and their ability to grow large, even when planted in close proximity. They're also relatively low maintenance, making them a great choice for beginner and experienced gardeners alike. Now that we've chosen our onion varieties, it's time to get our hands dirty and start planting. The key to successful crowd growing lies in finding the sweet spot between density and overcrowding. We want to give our onions enough space to thrive, but not so much that weeds have a chance to move in. Instead of meticulously measuring out each onion set, try this simple technique. Imagine dividing your raised bed into rows, but instead of planting in straight lines, we're going to stagger the onions, creating a more natural, interwoven pattern. This will help to maximize space and ensure that each onion has access to sunlight and nutrients. Another tip is to plant the onion set slightly deeper than you normally would. This will help to anchor the plants and encourage strong root development, which is essential for supporting their vigorous growth. As a general rule of thumb, aim to plant the sets so that the top of the bulb is about an inch below the soil surface. Watering is crucial, especially during the early stages of growth. Think of it as quenching the thirst of these eager onion seedlings. Consistent moisture encourages strong root development. This sets the stage for healthy bulb formation later on. Aim to keep the soil consistently moist, but not waterlogged. Overwatering can lead to root rot and other problems. Stick your finger about an inch into the soil. If it feels dry, it's time to water. Water deeply, allowing the moisture to penetrate the root zone. As the onions mature and the bulbs begin to swell, you can gradually reduce the frequency of watering. This helps to concentrate the flavor of the onions and prevents them from becoming watery. However, don't let the soil completely dry out, especially during hot, dry spells. Mulching around your onion plants can help to conserve soil moisture and suppress weeds. Use organic materials like straw, shredded leaves, or grass clippings. Apply a layer about 2 to 3 inches thick around the base of the plants, being careful not to bury the onion bulbs. Here's where the beauty of crowd growing really shines. Remember all those pesky weeds we talked about? Well, with our densely planted onion bed, they'll have a much harder time gaining a foothold. The onions themselves will act as a living mulch, shading out any would-be invaders. That doesn't mean you can completely forget about weeding. Keep an eye out for any particularly persistent weeds that manage to sneak through. If you do spot any, simply pluck them out by hand. The earlier you catch them, the easier they are to remove. The key is to be proactive, not reactive. Regularly inspect your onion bed for signs of weed growth. A few minutes of weeding here and there will save you a lot of time and effort in the long run, and it will keep your onion plants happy and healthy. Remember, a weed-free onion bed is a happy onion bed. By minimizing competition for resources, you're allowing your onions to direct all their energy into producing those big, beautiful bulbs. One of the joys of gardening is witnessing the intricate web of life that exists in our own backyards. Attracting beneficial insects to your garden is like inviting a team of tiny superheroes to protect your plants from pests and diseases. Onions, with their pungent aroma, are generally quite good at deterring pests. However, there are a few common culprits that might try their luck. Onion flies, thrips, and aphids are all known to cause damage to onion plants. But fear not, our beneficial insect allies are here to help. Ladybugs, lacewings, and praying mantises are just a few examples of beneficial insects that love to feast on these onion-loving pests. To attract these helpful creatures to your garden, consider planting companion plants that they find irresistible. Flowers like yarrow, dill, and alyssum are known to attract beneficial insects. Plant them around the perimeter of your onion bed or intersperse them throughout your garden to create a welcoming habitat for these tiny guardians. After months of anticipation, the day finally arrived to harvest our crowd-grown onions. The raised bed, once filled with tiny seedlings, was now a sea of lush green tops, their slender stalks reaching for the sky. Excitement mingled with a touch of nervousness as I gently pushed aside the foliage, eager to see what lay beneath the surface. To my delight, the bed was teeming with onions. Clusters of bulbs, nestled closely together, emerged from the soil like hidden treasures. It was a sight that brought a wide smile to my face. The crowd-growing experiment was a success. The Australian brown onions, true to their reputation, had thrived in the crowded conditions. Their coppery brown skins gleamed in the sunlight, and their rounded shapes promised a flavorful harvest. The Spanish white onions, nestled among their brown counterparts, were equally impressive. Their papery white skins hinted at their sweet and mild flavor. Now, I'll admit, not every onion in the bed was a prize-winning whopper. The close planting had resulted in a range of sizes, from plump, softball-sized bulbs to more petite specimens. But here's the thing, size doesn't always matter when it comes to flavor. In fact, some of the smaller onions were the most intensely flavored of all, their pungent aroma filling the air as I harvested them. The diversity of sizes actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. The larger onions were perfect for slicing into rings for burgers or grilling alongside steaks. The medium-sized bulbs were ideal for dicing into soups, stews, and sauces. And those tiny, flavor-packed onions? They were destined for pickling, where their pungent bite would add a delightful zing to sandwiches and charcuterie boards. This abundance of sizes meant I could use every single onion I had grown, minimizing waste and maximizing the bounty of my harvest. It was a testament to the resourcefulness of crowd growing and a reminder that sometimes imperfection yields the most delicious results. As I surveyed my bountiful onion harvest, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had led to this moment. The crowd growing experiment had been a departure from my usual meticulous gardening methods, and I had learned some valuable lessons along the way. For starters, I discovered that sometimes less is more. By relinquishing some control and allowing the onions to grow more naturally, I had actually created an environment where they thrived. The reduced weeding alone had been a game changer. The densely planted onions had effectively choked out most of the weeds, saving me countless hours of back-breaking labor. And while I had initially been concerned about the onions being too crowded, they had proven to be incredibly resilient, their slender stalks reaching for the sunlight with determination. Perhaps the most important lesson I learned was to trust the process. Nature has a way of finding a balance, and sometimes the best thing we can do as gardeners is to simply create the right conditions and let nature do its thing. This hands-off approach had not only yielded an impressive harvest, but had also deepened my appreciation for the resilience and abundance of the natural world. With a mountain of freshly harvested onions at my disposal, my thoughts turned to preserving this bounty. After all, the joy of gardening is not only in the growing, but also in savoring the flavors of the season long after the harvest is over. Luckily, onions are incredibly versatile when it comes to preservation. For a tangy treat that would brighten up sandwiches and salads, I set aside a portion of the smaller onions for pickling. The pickling process was surprisingly simple, transforming these pungent bulbs into vibrant, tangy delights. I experimented with different flavor combinations, adding spices like mustard seeds, peppercorns, and dill to create a symphony of flavors. To ensure a year-round supply of onion flavor, I also decided to dehydrate a portion of the harvest. I sliced the onions thinly and arranged them on the trays of my dehydrator, the gentle warmth transforming them into crispy, flavorful flakes. These dried onion flakes would be perfect for adding a punch of flavor to soups, stews, and homemade spice blends. And of course, no onion preservation endeavor would be complete without freezing a generous portion of chopped onions. These frozen onion treasures would be a lifesaver on busy weeknights, ready to be tossed into stir-fries, sauces, and casseroles. As we've seen throughout this onion-growing adventure, embracing a less conventional, more relaxed approach can lead to surprisingly bountiful results. Crowd growing, with its emphasis on simplicity and maximizing space, offers a refreshing alternative to traditional onion-growing methods. It's a testament to the fact that sometimes breaking the rules can lead to unexpected rewards. The beauty of crowd growing lies in its ability to work with nature, rather than against it. By planting our onions in close proximity, we're essentially mimicking the way they often grow in the wild, creating a microclimate where they can thrive. The dense foliage acts as a natural mulch, suppressing weeds and reducing the need for constant weeding. Moreover, the competition for resources encourages the onions to grow taller and more slender, maximizing the use of vertical space in our gardens. And while the resulting onions may vary in size, they more than make up for it in flavor, offering a delightful diversity that can be used in countless culinary creations. So, if you're looking for a low-maintenance, high-yield approach to onion growing, I encourage you to give crowd growing a try. It's a rewarding and surprisingly effortless way to enjoy the fruits of your labor, all while embracing the beauty of nature's own design. As we've explored the world of no-fuss onion growing, we've uncovered the secrets to achieving a bountiful harvest from just one raised bed. From the initial planting to the joy of harvest, this journey has been about embracing simplicity, challenging conventions, and trusting in the resilience of nature. Remember those common gardening hurdles we discussed? The endless weeding, the meticulous spacing, the fear of overcrowding? Crowd growing turns those challenges on their head, transforming them into opportunities for a more relaxed and rewarding gardening experience. As you embark on your own onion-growing adventure, I encourage you to approach it with a spirit of curiosity and a willingness to experiment. Don't be afraid to challenge the rules, to think outside the traditional gardening box, and to trust your intuition. And most importantly, remember to savor the journey. Gardening is a process, a dance between humans and nature, and the rewards are often found in the smallest details: the feel of warm soil in your hands, the sight of tiny seedlings pushing through the earth, the aroma of freshly harvested onions filling your kitchen. So go forth, dear gardeners, and embrace the joy of growing your own food, one delicious onion at a time.